Hey, welcome to Rulebook RX. I'm Dee, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Kickstarter edition of Globetrotting. So, Globetrotting comes from R2I, or Road to Infamy Games, which is a Chicago-based board game company. They are most well known for their smash hit Canvas, which I absolutely loved. I think one of my first videos I did a review of the Canvas rulebook, and that was a knock out of the park. So, when I saw that they had this new Kickstarter coming on, I joined almost immediately. They're from Chicago, I'm from Wisconsin, so they're just kind of right across that border. It says that they're diehard Bears fans, which, sorry, I mean, it's the Bears. You could always like the Packers. Anyway, we're going to be taking a look at all the components and the usability of Globetrotting. This is going to be the Kickstarter edition. It comes with this lovely, lovely box we're going to talk about in a little bit. Yeah, let's get to the table and let's take a look at all the components and rulebook. We have everything that comes with the game right here. I'm going to get into some of these components and what works well with usability and graphic design in just a second. But first, let's talk the rulebook. First up, the rulebook's good size, bigger than my hand. It doesn't have any kind of like linen finish or anything like that. It's just kind of glossy, which is fine. Nice image on the front, on the back, just kind of the game design and graphic design. Graphic design done by Jeffrey Chin. I'm assuming he did everything kind of with the game. So let's talk about some of that. Looking at the rulebook here, inside, I love when they do this, when they have things color-coded by what steps you're going to be doing. Now, I do have a video here that we're going to cut to of me actually putting together one of these globes. We're going to do that now. All right, so I've got everything set up here that we're going to be kind of assembling. We've got a couple of our domes. Here's a couple finished examples. We've got some clips, which are okay. They're not the best. I don't love them, but we're going to hopefully make them work. And then we got these, which are going to go on our stands to help our little globes spin. All right, in the rulebook itself, we started out with the directions on how to assemble both of these. So we're going to just kind of do that. I found this a little frustrating. I've got dumb hands, I think. I don't know. But there is instructions on how to do this online, so you can go ahead and check that out. The Road to Infamy Games did a really good job of making a video for this, but I'll kind of show you how I'm doing it as well. Get these guys out of here. I forgot to punch those out. So, what you're going to do, these got to go in here. Slot it like that. Oh, first actually. These guys got to go like this. Boom. And then put them in these little slots. There's a bigger side where you slot them in. I am concerned, like everything punches out nice and it's really sturdy cardboard, but with having to do this over and over again after putting it together, I am worried how long these are going to last. So we'll see about that. I can't do a review for now. And once we got that assembled, I'm going to stick these little guys. There's a couple grooves in here. You can stick them right like this. I thought this was clever because these are just kind of like regular standy pogs. I don't know what you'd call them. But they do a really good job of keeping the globes so they spin. Boom. Alright, so we got this guy. I'm going to put it over here just to kind of keep it out of our way. Both globes, both sides of globes I should say, come wrapped like that, so they're going to be in a good condition. I didn't realize this until I watched the video. There's a W on top here, and this one is another W. So let me quick grab an east side. Bam. Alright, so now, I don't know if you can see that, we got an E, we got a W, so I'm going to start with a W. To do that, we've got these Western Hemisphere and these Eastern Hemisphere ones. They're a little thin. Some people have said that they didn't have theirs in their copy, but it might just be stuck together. It seemed like mine were stuck together quite well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Western Hemisphere, and first we're going to put one of these guys on the top. They recommend doing this because, man, these do not like to go in very well at all. Luckily, after you have these in, There you go. There's like a little groove that you're going to notice right in here that you got to stick. These don't go in as well as they say they do. I kind of find that if, well, that one popped in right well, but I kind of find that if you find that groove and almost push up instead of sliding in, that seems to work better. So now we've got our Western Hemisphere. We're going to take this, it does say this end up, which is great. Let's go ahead and stuff these in. I do find this part a little frustrating as well, just because they don't always like to hang in there well. And then, all right, so it is nice that up at the top here, those kind of go featuring that way. Like there's a little cutout here, so that works. I'm gonna stick this in, and hopefully this is going to go. Nope. All right, so now we've got this paper, and it does make it a little bit more difficult to put in here. All right, looking good. So now we've got, oh, this side popped up, so let's go ahead and put that under. There we go. There's our west side of the globe. Set that right here. Now let's do the same thing over here. Do the same trick. So I'm just going to try and slide them up here. Now here we go. It does look like they gave us extra of these, which is nice because these are very tiny, and you may fling them across the room in a fit of rage. Okay, we are good. Now the last part is putting these together, which is, it just seems harder than it needs to be. And that, unfortunately, when it's like this, this is the part that you're going to have to assemble the whole time. All right, finally we got a snap. We got a little bit of overlay right there on the top. G and A are covered. I haven't tried the game yet. This is just for assembling purposes. Once they're all set, you stick them in like that. Here's what they look like assembled. They do sit in there quite well. And maybe I'll get into more of the usability once I've had a chance to play the game. Ooh, and even just lifting it up right there, that popped right out. So you really got to make sure these cardboard bits are locked in, or else they're going to kind of be a pain. So this little bit on top makes it easy to spin. So that's my putting it together tutorial. So the team at Road to Infamy put this in the rulebook, and it kind of gives you just a step-by-step guide of how to do that. They also have a YouTube video, which I'll put in the link below. Moving on. Here we've got the setup. Now, I think this is a really nice way to do the setup. They have everything kind of lined up just as we have it here, and shows everything that's going to come with the game. That's always nice when they have a visual representation of how you set up the game. And then over here, really nice color-coded and alphabetized rule sets of how you're going to set up your game. They do have an experience setup, which is kind of nice. We haven't done that one yet. We've just kind of been playing around with it here and there. I think the fonts they used was really nice. These directions on how to put your seasons on the globe is nice, and I'm going to show you what they're talking about in just a second. For here, we've got a really easy how to play. Just a couple quick steps, and once again, I love it that they have this color-coded to show you, hey, look at that. This deals with this, this deals with this, this deals with this. I love it when they have color coordination to show you, okay, this deals with this, but they also had a really nice, they had a smart thing here. These are much bolder than over here, but this is much easier to read. It's still that tone, though, that just goes right over. I think that's really smart. Finally, we got to break down a couple of the cards here. We're going to look at those over here in just a moment. The Festival, which are these tokens right here, and the Travel Companions, which is the multiplayer version. These two right here, this is for 2 players, and this is for 3 players. So that's what they're talking about there. Festivals and Travel Companions. They are double-sided, so if you wanted to have 3 players or more, that's this side. If you just got 1 or 2, you're going to be using that side. Finally, we have an explanation of the global objectives that are up here. Game end scoring and a solo mode if you're looking to play. On the back, like I kind of mentioned, they don't have the rules overview and they don't really have any player cards, but there's such a small amount of rule set with this, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It would be nice if they just added maybe like a small box in here of saying, here's the different steps that you're going to do. But honestly, when you get 1 or 2 rounds in the game, you're already going. I've taught it to my 7-year-old son, and he seemed fine with knowing exactly what was going on. But once again, I know that that's something that people usually like, is not a lot of wasted space on a rule book. This could be considered a little bit of wasted space, but you know, for such an easy game with all of your rules literally right here, that's pretty much as good as it gets. So that's the rule book. Pretty small, pretty well, large in size, small in directions, which, I mean, they did a fine job explaining what you do for each step of the game. And I mean, it is nice that when you open up the book right away here at the binding, this is how to play. So I think that's really smart. I think that's really nice for usability. If you ever have any questions, pop it open, and it's just automatically going to get right in here most of the time. If you wear it out, that's probably another story. Let's take a look at some of these components. So here's how you would set it up. We've got our travel destinations and a travel destination deck. There are plenty of cards in here. One of the fun things that you'll see is these all kind of deal with various board games for whatever reason. We got Jaipur, San Juan, Carcassonne, right? So all of those are, you know, familiar to other gamers, but it's also kind of nice because they're not just your standard, these are the countries these are the countries, but that is really nice because they're kind of off the beaten path as well. Every player is going to get one of these lovely globes. You do have to put it together. Here's the different steps that things come in, as I kind of showed in that video. They recommend that you break the game down. We're going to get into talking about that in just a moment. But one of the things that's really nice that you'll notice on the top here is they have kind of a grid of A, B, C, D, all the way through L. And then those can be found on the tops of your travel. So if you're struggling, if you don't really see where it is, you can just say, oh, it's on H3. So you go H, you would go H, and down, doop, 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 right there, okay? So I think if you're really struggling, you would go to H, and then here, I'll set it to here, H3, yep, there we go. Cyclades is in the third section right here, okay? I think that's pretty clever that they added that, so it's really easy to find things. The other thing that I'm going to show you that I think is nice on this globe here, at the bottom of these, they all have different vacation types. There's 4 of them. There's historical, resort, urban, and I think, well, here, I'll just show you one here. One of these nature ones, okay? I love that they have them on the bottom here, but also on the locations themselves on the globe itself. The reason why that's good is because in some of these other cards, your bucket list cards, that are going to be how you score points, some of them are going to say, oh, look, you want to go to these resort destinations. So in spring, which would be right here, if you visit a resort, you're going to get a point for each of those. Now, here's something that I think this game is great at. Everything can be marked with a dry erase marker. So let's just say that I did this, I went to one of these, I can mark a point right there. And then as I go to these destinations more, I can keep track that way. So I don't have to like look at what's going on over on the globe, I don't have to count things, I can keep track of everything right there. I will say that the dry erase marker with these holds up quite well, along with the dry erase marker for the globe. Here's something that I love for usability. Let's just say we're going to go from Tokyo to, let's pick one of these. Let's go to where I've always wanted to go and visit a hobbit hole. So we're going to start at, we'll say Tokyo. When you start the game, they always recommend that your starting destinations you're going to mark by, you know, which season you're in. So let's just say we started out here in Tokyo, and we're going to go check out Matamata. I believe that's what it's called. So you're going to start here. You're going to put this on the 1 right here. And then you're going to set this right nicely like this. We're going to check to make sure that we're going to our correct destination, and you can just draw right alongside here, and it does quite well of actually kind of getting you to where you need to go. You might be a little off, but close enough for jazz. This also shows you how much you're going to be paying here. So I would consider this a 3 because it's touching right here. Anything within here is 1. Anything within here is 2, 3, 4, and 5. It is possible, I'm sure, to go all around the globe, but that's going to be quite expensive. What you do with this number is you're going to take your little handy-dandy passport they give you. Once again, everything in here is dry erase, and you're going to mark down. That little trip cost me $3. You're going to document all of the different trips in here, as well as your end game scoring, which will be these destination points up here. You're going to mark right here. Anytime you score from a bucket list item, I don't know what I did with my other one, but anytime that you would make one of these, you're going to total all those points up right here. And finally, your travel companions or festivals are going to go right here, putting your final score right here, just like that. Being able to write in here is really clever and really fun. It makes it more than just a roll and write. You know, everything has a pretty decent amount of functionality. I think that part's really clever. They have a couple different options here, and I like that they do look just like the passports we'd be using. So I think that that's really nice. They did a really great job with a lot of the visual components with this game. With playing it, we didn't have any issues with the globes itself. Everything kind of spins in here quite nicely. So far, I haven't had an issue with getting to any destination from another destination, but that could be an issue. But you just kind of move things around, and it does just a really nice job of showing you where and how much it's going to cost you. I think that's great. So they did a lot of really nice things with usability here. Wow, there was the one I was looking for. Over here, we've got our travel rewards card. It's just kind of a Kickstarter limited edition extra thing you can do, and they just are going to provide you with, you know, a couple other scoring options. Truthfully, I haven't used this one yet, and I hope to get to it soon. The solo mode is quite easy. You're going to be going up against a virtual opponent called Abby, who's going to score 2 points for each bucket list card that you've taken. You have an option of taking, you know, whatever kind of destination cards you want, or the bucket list cards that you want, and then you're going to play against that. Fairly easy and quite quick. This game itself, very quick to get to the table and play. That makes usability really nice there. Now, let's get to the negatives. I'm going to move this out of the way here. Here's the box that comes with the game. It is beautiful. It was one of those things that when they showed it, I was like, man, that looks so cool. The problem being is when we open up our box here, once again, everything's pretty well laid out for putting things away. I'll show you this. We've got here, you put the season tokens, and then these cards fit here, these cards fit here. But the problem comes in when you want to put in the globes. There is no way to put in the globes where you don't have to take them apart. It comes with 4 globes, so the only way you're going to be able to do it is if you take apart the globes every single time. There have been a lot of people rumbling that it is not easy to put these globes together, so that's kind of an issue. I'm going to get into more of that once we hit endgame here, but while I had everything set up, I just wanted to show you exactly how things look when you put them in. And the other bummer is, even if you have just 2 in here, 2 globes set up, you would have to break down, you know, the stands into, like, you know, these things right here, and it doesn't really even go back together with just 2 globes assembled, which is kind of a bummer. Because even when you're looking at these, this is only from a couple different plays, I worry that either things are going to get bent or they're going to just kind of wear out and dull over time. Actually, I did that wrong. You gotta first assemble down here, and then you put it together. So that's just kind of an issue that I see for wear and tear in the future. So that's that. Let's go back and we'll give you final thoughts and move on with our day. All right, so we're not going to be reviewing the game so much as more of the usability and components of what we just looked at. As you can see, I think there's a lot of really good usability in the game itself. Like, holding on to one of these globes is so fun. I mean, you can kind of just have one sitting on your desk and pretend that you're an evil genius and you're plotting your next whatever. So the usability of the game when it hits the table is great. My son walked in on my wife and I playing this game, and immediately he wanted to play it. I just on the fly came up with a really easy math addition of how to do this with just going to different destinations and marking off how much you're going to pay. That worked great for him. And then after he was really stoked on that, he wanted to play the hard version. So I tried with him, and yeah, he was able to pick it up and learn it really easy. So when you see this game on the table, it's going to draw a lot of attention. There's a lot of appeal with actually playing this game. Now, the problem is going to be with the size of the box versus the size of the globes. So I know that this is an issue for a lot of people, and it is myself. Full disclosure, when I first opened the Kickstarter box and I was looking at the components and I was like, these aren't going to fit in here, I got really disappointed at first. It was one of those things that you get a Kickstarter, you're super excited for it, and then you're looking at, you're like, well, how am I going to get this to game night? You know, like these don't fit in the box. And with putting together one of them, as you saw in that other video that I shot a couple days before I shot this one, it was not easy. I'm not a super fan of the putting these together, but once they're together, they do work great. Now, taking them apart and putting them back together, I don't know how that's going to maintain over time. So there's another thing with usability with using the box that it comes in. So I would love it, and it would greatly increase the usability of this game if like someone on Etsy or even Road to Infamy itself kind of took what they're hearing here from people and just made a nice carryable box for all the globes. I know it's huge, you know, usability, we're going to be talking about like the giant box sizes that are becoming the Kickstarter norm. Like we got Everdell big box back there, and you know, more like Foundations of Rome, which we talked a little bit about that one in this in that video, which you can check out over here. I'll link the Canvas video as well that we talked about the rulebook there. So the rulebook itself, the game itself, fantastic for usability and getting to the table and making the teach as easy as possible. Like this game, a 7-year-old learned it, which is awesome. But getting this game to the table, if it's not at your house, is going to be the issue. So that's why I'm really hoping that someone on Etsy or even Road to Infamy themselves will be selling a bigger box for this. I know that kind of sucks, but this game wasn't that expensive compared to a lot of other Kickstarters to get into it at this level. So if someone made like a big box for 20 bucks, had the same attention to detail love that this has, like the thing is, I love the way this box looks, and I love the way that you can open it up, you know, with like the magnets, and it just looks like one of these old school, you know, travel suitcases. And with this handle on here, forget about it. This is such a great box, but because of how big the globes are compared to the box, it's going to be kind of useless. Now, someone on Board Game Geek did recommend, you know, just kind of keeping them out while it's hot, while you're really loving the game, and then maybe breaking them down and putting them back in the box for a later date just to store in the shelf. That's probably what I'm going to do. I don't want to take these apart anytime soon, especially while I'm still enjoying playing it, and my wife and my kids are enjoying playing it, and I want to show more people it. So I'm going to, in the meantime, for my usability, I'm going to have to find a different storage container. Heck, I have some old suitcases that maybe I'm just going to do one of those and call it a day. So that's my critique, is the usability is very poor on the travel edition side, and maybe even just finding spots. My apologies there. My GoPro turned off because it overheated. Maybe it's trying to travel to Arizona right now. Who knows? But as I was saying, if they can make a larger suitcase for these, I think that's going to bring the usability up. Right now, usability kind of poor for that. Actual game usability is great. I love that they thought about drawing straight lines with this actually itself, which is all dry erase. All of it comes off quite easy, which is great. So I'm gonna give this a just a pass. Like the game itself, lovely. And that's as far as I'm going to get with it. So if you have any questions, I got something wrong, please put in the comments down below. If you have any opinions on it yourself, please let me know. I like focusing on the UI, UX of board games, rule books, all of that kind of stuff to see how hard it is to get to the table and teach. If you like that kind of thing, like and subscribe. We'll be doing more of these. I kind of want to focus on some of the usability issues with box size and some things like folded space coming up in my next couple of videos. If that seems interesting to you, join along. We'll have fun together. So once again, I'm Dee. This is the Rulebook RX. Thanks for stopping by, and keep on trotting.